Poverty is about to skyrocket in this country if things continue down the path that they're on right now. There's a myriad of reasons why, but I want to cover one particular angle as to why this is going to be the case. And I also want to get into the conversation about how you can actually position yourself not to fall victim to some of the upcoming shifts and changes in the economic system that are coming. So this is going to be focused around the investment opportunities and how they're shifting and changing. And it's going to create a massive worsening, if you will, and a concentration of wealth at the top. And this is going to be really problematic. And a lot of economists are starting to sound off on this because there's so many different factors that's just flashing red lights and yellow signs and warning signs that this is trending in the wrong direction. And one of the major areas that I just fumbled across really studying another channel. If you guys have never heard of Alux, it's a phenomenal channel, just kind of business content, economic content, geopolitical content, whatever the case may be. They did a really good video talking about how IPOs are slowing down with major companies, meaning that a lot of companies are no longer going public on the stock market. You may be trying to sit here and think, well, how the hell is this connected to poverty and like everyday mainstream? How is this connected to me, basically? Just stick with me for a minute. I'm going to give you some context on this, okay? What's happening right now in the United States in particular is there's a tremendous concentration of wealth happening for those who already have money. And technology, systems, processes, and even in some cases, regulations or the lack of regulations are contributing to that greatly. Because, for those of you who may not know that happen to be new, I know every video reaches at least somebody new. I'm a banker by trade, a business banker, private client banker. So basically, I help everyday consumers with their banking needs, their lending needs, investment needs. I also help business clients with their business needs, banking needs, lending needs, etc. Mortgage license. I have a FINRA investment license, life insurance license. So, and I've been in the industry of banking for over 10 years, going on 11 plus years now. And I've been in financial services for 12 plus years. So the bulk of my career has been in this industry. So I am talking about this as somebody who's literally working for a major financial institution, helping clients around this stuff. I'm getting in a lot of data and news from the top of the institution I work for. And I'm rubbing shoulders with some really prominent financial professionals who are dealing with clients with serious net worths. We're talking about 5 million, 20 million, 50 million. These are people I'm in contact with on a regular basis, thankfully, as a gift. But that having been said, this information is actually coming from a credible source as much as I can provide that insight for you. I am not your banker. I'm not your financial advisor. So the information I cover in this video is for educational purposes only. You know the disclaimer stuff. At the end of the day, this is just to give you some context around how things are trending and how it can be very impactful for your economic and financial future, the financial future of you and your family. Wealth is getting concentrated at the top at a much faster rate. And unless there's significant changes in the system, it's only going to get worse. Think about economic factors like inflation. Think about economic factors like, AI and and how it's going to impact things. All of these things benefit and concentrate wealth at the top. Inflation inflates the value of assets. Who owns the majority of the assets? The top 1% or top few percent of people in this country. The same thing goes for stuff like AI. Who's going to benefit the most? It's going to be significant, these significant sized institutions and companies already. Yes, AI will be very advantageous for the everyday entrepreneur, the small business owner, but it's really going to have the most economic impact and financial impact for bigger companies and bigger entities. What I really want to get into on this one is closer to home in the banking sector, the lending sector, and the investment sector, right? When you start talking about the best financial opportunities, they come in proximity. I talk about that so much on this channel. Literally, this channel is going to be 3 years old in December, and you can go back nearly that entire 3-year window, and I am talking about this even at that point in time. Proximity to opportunity is essential. And again, I want you, for those of you who have the attention span, hang on for a second. I'm going to make all of this make sense. Proximity to opportunities and proximity to information is crucial to building wealth. What that basically means in plain English is how close you are to the inception of the idea, the knowledge, the information, or the opportunity is going to determine how much you can benefit from it, or if it's negative, how much you can avoid it, dodge it, or defend yourself against it. If you pay attention to those who have wealth versus those of us who do not, and I mean the most extreme ends of that spectrum, you will notice that what I'm talking about is like just about 100% accurate. The people with the most wealth are the people closest to wealth generating opportunities. You notice that politicians go into their careers a lot of times broke many times over and they come out multimillionaires. One good example is like Nancy Pelosi, and there's many of them out there. But this is somebody whose salary for their entire career has been around $150,000, and yet they're worth 8 or 9 figures. It's insane. But the reason is really simple. She is literally at the helm of proximity to quality information. She's literally passing legislation and regulation directly impacting industries and businesses and investment opportunities. All of this information is passing across her desk before it ever hits the public. It's almost impossible not to leverage and lean into that information and build wealth off of it. Just trading stocks alone. That's not talking about the same thing happening in real estate. It's not talking about the same thing happening in private equity opportunities and all these other things going on. What I'm getting at is, what I talked about earlier in this video is that IPOs are dropping significantly. And this was covered really well in a video by the ALUX YouTube channel, where they talked about how, companies are going public less and less. One of the most prominent of 3 or 4 major reasons that they cited that I want to talk about is the fact that there's so much money in the private sector now. These companies no longer need to go public to get the capital that they need. They don't need to deal with the requirements, the hurdles, the intrusiveness, the controls over their business. They don't need to deal with all that to get the capital they need to get to massive heights. They use Airbnb, Uber, SpaceX as some of the most prominent examples. These companies are 8 and 9 figure, and even 10-figure companies. They're like big billion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, nearly trillion-dollar companies, or you're like heading in that direction, and they're still not going public. That would be astounding 10, 15, 20 years ago. And today's world is becoming common. And what that means for us as everyday people, and why this is leading to or creating an alarming scenario for poverty and like people getting poorer and it happening in a way where you don't even realize it's happening. You're not going to get poor in a way where you're going to make less money or your salary is going to go down. What's going to happen is what you make is going to be so insignificant in scale of the larger and broader economy and to those who are creating real wealth. Private sector investment opportunities for real estate, stock market, private sector investing in businesses that are in their inception. The IPO is the opportunity for Main Street public everyday people like you and I through our 401ks and brokerage accounts to get in close to the initial value of these businesses as they hit the marketplace. So basically the most value you're going to get out of that investment opportunity is during the IPO phase if you're not in on the private sector side. So like basically what that means is by the time we get our hands on these companies and invest in them as mainstream everyday people, a lot of the juice has been squeezed out of the opportunity. Yeah, we might see those 10, 15, 20% gains over time, and that's cool compounded over years. Don't get me wrong. You can really build a nice nest egg from that. But we're talking about people who get in on these companies on the ground floor before they ever go public. They're seeing upper double-digit and triple-digit returns on these investments, and sometimes even 4-figure returns on these companies. They're putting a few thousand, they're putting in, well, not a few thousand, but 50, 100, 150, $250,000 a pop when these companies are offering equity opportunities or investment opportunities on pennies on those dollars. As to say, I'm putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars in the shares of that company if it was public, or 10 cents or 15 cents. It's that kind of situation. So if that company goes from that 15 cent or 20 cent to $1, $2, $3, and I got $100,000 in there, do you see what kind of money I made? That's the kind of value there when you're in on these companies on a private placement type of level. private equity type of level. The same thing's happening in real estate. The real opportunities in real estate, a lot of them are in the private equity side. All of this is cut off from us as Main Street investors unless you're a high net worth individual. That is what this is all coming out to. This is the whole point of what I'm trying to get to you. You being able to invest in the public sector, and a lot of these companies no longer going public, and a lot of these opportunities in real estate and companies and stocks not reaching the public sector anymore, means that the real value is being hidden and locked away in the private sector. If you're not an accredited investor, meaning that you have $1 million plus in net worth outside of your primary residence, or an income over a couple $100,000, a few $100,000 a year in income, $400,000 or $500,000 a year in income. I need to look that up to verify that really quickly. But it's basically a very significant six-figure income as an individual or as a married couple. And then $1 million plus in net worth outside of your primary residence. So some other investment property, your retirement accounts, your stock accounts, some other business you own and operate. If you don't meet those metrics, you cannot play in this investment space. You can't play in this investment space. So they're literally normalizing a massive growth in poverty, because yes, you'll continue to make your salaries and your income, your 401k and retirement accounts to still get that 7, 8, 9, 10%. But there's gonna be gobs of people and families and family offices that are taking advantage of high double-digit, triple digits, and even in some cases 4-digit returns on investment opportunities that we won't even get to see if we're not accredited investors. All of this basically means that if you don't get your net worth up ASAP, then you're going to get locked out of the majority of the quality financial and investment opportunities that are going to be in the marketplace. Waiting on the stock market and getting these 7, 8, 9, 10, 12% returns on a year-over-year basis and riding that out for 20 and 30 years is going to be obsolete for all intents and purposes as far as generating any real wealth in a timely fashion where it's even going to matter. And I hate to be pessimistic and say that, but we all have to start taking more risk and really looking to build real wealth faster and getting our net worth in a position where we can be a part of these private investment opportunities. Because I'm telling you now, we're not in that position soon. The next 3 to 5 years, 7 years, those opportunities are going to dry up by the time they reach our 401ks in the public market and our brokerage accounts in the public market. There's not going to be enough value left to create real wealth. So yeah, we look like we're doing well. We're making 60, 70, 80, 100, $120,000 a year. Our 401ks are getting 10 and 12%. We're not looking up and realizing that's not anymore in this economy. Inflation is going to go through the roof. Asset valuations are going to go through the roof. And the people that are going to be building real wealth and have access to these private investment opportunities are going to skew the economy so much in their favor that even making $100,000, $150,000 a year is going to be pocket change. It's going to be borderline poverty. It's going to be working class soon. So I hope this makes sense to you. The private investment opportunities, the private placement, private investment, private equity opportunities that are seeing the real gains and the real estate and stock market and business plays are closed off to us, non-accredited investors. We're going to get the single-digit returns, the 10, 12% if we're lucky, if we're prudent. We have to ride that out for 15, 20, 25, 30 years to see any real goose egg build or nest egg build up. While people are over here getting 20, 30, 50, 70, 100, 120, 200, 300% returns on their money year over year in some cases, depending on what they're invested in and the sectors they're in and what that private opportunity looks like. They're going to skew the economic numbers in their favor so much. Assets are going to inflate so much if nothing else changes, and it's not tamed, if it can be tamed, that what we think is real money right now and income and salaries and our 401ks and our equity in our homes is going to be pocket change. It's going to be menial. We have to get our net worth up ASAP and get our hands and position ourselves into these private opportunities on some level and get real ownership ourselves in real estate and businesses and stocks. We have to get on the right side of this wealth transfer. We have to get there fast because things are changing fast. I hope this all made sense. Comment down below. I know it was kind of a higher level topic in the video. I know these videos don't typically get the kind of viewership because they're not like sexy clickbait like. But at the end of the day, I gotta put this information out. That's just how I function. I don't appeal to the BS clickbait videos. I gotta put real information out. That's just what it is. And if I gotta take a hit on the growth of this channel, it's so be it. But for all my pioneers that are tuned in, let me know in the description down below if this, or in the comment section down below, excuse me, if this really made sense and you get the sense of urgency that I'm trying to create for you in this video. Comment down below and let me know how much of this you were familiar with or if it was new to you. Give me your thoughts and comments down below. Support the channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel so the channel can continue to support you. Get in the description section down below if you want to tie in with me on Instagram. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one to see how I can assist you on your financial journey to increasing your net worth as an individual or as a business owner, get in the description section. There's a link in the description to let you know where I specialize at. Or you can comment down below and I'd love to connect with you to find out how we can work one-to-one together. Other than that, to all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all.